if you want to network, you want to be in a crew, or you want to like get in with a label, or like you got to turn up to these parties and you got to try and meet these people and introduce yourself, and like don't go in the door and say, hey, can you sign my track, or can I get this from you? I was like, genuinely go and build a relationship, go and support.
Right, today I've got an exciting stream. I like doing these streams. They're great fun. We basically do a student spotlight for one of my course members on the Artist Blueprint. And today I'm excited to welcome in Notorious Lynch. He joined the course in 2021, was actually one of the first people was on the course in the first run. Originally from Ireland, now based in San Diego. He's been DJing since 2008 and now is a label owner for a label called One Dance Left. He's also got a radio show on the same name. I thought we'd get him in here to hear the full story and just see how he's getting on and just chat about labels. So also his label's doing some mad things on Beatport, get some great numbers. So hopefully we can get some tips on how to get up those Beatport charts. But let's get him in here. He's up super early because he's in San Diego. So let's have a breakfast welcome. Hey, dude. How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I'm up. I got the coffee here, so I should be alive and kicking.
It's super early. Thank you so much for getting up early.
No problem. Thanks for having me on, man. I'm excited to be here, so no problem at all.
So, as you know, with these streams, before we start anything serious, it's lunchtime here for us. And you're obviously you're from over here, but over there. So I'm sure you know what a meal deal is. I'm sure you've probably had one over here before you went over there. Do you have I guess from America, it's a go-to lunch. Someone in the chat asked you, somebody said, they said someone asking what is Notorious Lunch is.
Notorious Lunch is, well, they used to call me Lunchy in school.
No way. Well, okay. Why did they call you Lunchy?
I had a few names in school, but Lunchy was one of them, Lynchy, and I won't say the other one because it's a bit rude, but yeah, I had a few names.
Okay,
Lunchy was one of them.
What's the go-to lunch?
So, like, it is a little different here, like to like your Sainsbury's and Tesco's where you would have, but like back home in Ireland, my go-to was like the hot chicken roll or the breakfast roll, depending on the time of day. So, like lunchtime, hot chicken roll. If it was in the morning, like a breakfast roll, you get the can of Coke, you get the roll, and you get a bag of chips or potatoes for like $5. But over here, it's not really the same. So, like over here, probably get like potato wedges and like popcorn chicken or something, But yeah, I think nice. Back home, the meal deals definitely, and the food can be better as well.
I don't know. You think they got some decent food over there, surely? How long have you been over there?
I've been here 11 years now in total. This is year 11 for me. Yeah.
Wow. And did you go for a work thing?
I did. Originally, I went for like a hospitality visa. That's how I came over. Like, I lived in Las Vegas initially when I came over. So I'm an electrician by trade back home. But, around 2008, obviously things started getting bad. So I was just looking for an opportunity and was lucky enough to get one and be able to come here and try it out. And it's been 11 years later now. So long story short.
Nice. That's cool, though. That's cool. Okay, so for those who don't know you, I thought I'd just kind of get you to give a little introduction to yourself. Tell us about yourself. Let's start right at the start, and we'll kind of work through it, and we'll play some music, and we'll chat everything along the way.
No problem. So feel free to shut me down because I have a habit of rambling on. But I guess like it really started for me DJ wise and producer wise when I was about 16. But I've always been into music before that, and I collected like hip hop and R&B. That was my big thing when I was younger. I used to go to like HMV and Virgin Megastore like religiously every week to buy singles and albums, and so I had a big collection of hip hop and R&B. I still do. But when I was about 16, a buddy of mine in school and his brother, who was a year ahead of us, had a pirate radio station, and he kind of approached me and said, "Hey, would you want to come on the radio to do a radio show?" And I'm like, I don't know anything about that. He's like, no, we'll show you how to use the gear and everything. Like, but you got a big collection that would make a good show. And so like I was young and I said, yeah, let's do it. So I did it and did pirate radio for a while. But like how I got from that to dance music really quick was like, I saw all these guys, like friends of mine, but coming up, like playing hard house records on vinyl, progressive house. And, I saw them like doing tricks on vinyl, and like I wanted to do what they were doing, I was just presenting a show, so I was sitting at the desk with a mixer talking and playing my music. But I kind of fell in love with dance music from seeing them play vinyl and like listening to the tracks they were playing. So the city I'm from is Cork City in the south of Ireland, but big deep house city at the time. Like it's obviously pretty varied now. I think from what I hear, like techno is pretty big there now. But when I was coming up, classic house obviously was big, like that 90s style house, and then deep house. So like over
What years
time,
was this?
this would have been like the year 2000. So I would have
Right,
been
okay.
about 16. That's when I started. But like 16, obviously back home when you get to 18, you can start going out to the bars. And once I did that, I started hearing the like pub and club music then, and depending on where you go, like you'd hear house music. And for me, I kind of fell in love with deep house music then. And like the fascination with dance music and house music started back then. So really from
Nice.
about 16 on when I hit it,
What records were you listening to back then? Do you remember any from that time, Deep House space? Deep House then, what was that? What were the good records then? That's mad.
I'll tell you right now, like at least two standout records for me, because they're the two records I learned how to mix with as a DJ. Like I bought
yeah.
like this is how I did it. Like I bought a Newmark CD Mix One like box DJ set, and I practiced mixing with the same two songs. And I only did that because when I used to go out in town, I would hear DJs play these records together. But they were two of my favorite records anyway. So probably one that has had the biggest impact for me is like the East West Connection. The track is called "The More I Get, the More I Want," which is like an old Teddy Pendergrass sample. Probably not super popular, but like in house circles or like classic circles, it would be like I suppose, a cult classic. That's still to this day one of my favorite tracks. And then the second track would have been "Mood to Swing" all night long.
Oh
So I was big
yeah.
into like swing back then. And still am, because the way they did their drums and everything back then is still prevalent to this day. They were top notch.
That's cool. Yeah. So, yeah, I did that. I did that. I had two records, and you literally would go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth for like an hour, and that was all. That was all. Yeah. And I did. Yeah. I had those two. I had those Sound Lab vinyl decks, and I literally had to just. Oh man, it was painful going back and forth. I'm sure
I think like I'd recommend that to somebody learning to DJ these days. Is like just pick two tracks that that mix, and like mix them until you're comfortable, and then you can start worrying about your transitions and effects and stuff. But that's how I did it, and it's the only way I know, and how I'd recommend it to anyone is like put the hours in with the same music until you perfect it, and then start introducing new music.
And then so that was what? So that was early 2000s. Then did you start DJing out then, or when did that kind of come into it?
I did. So because of the pirate radio too, and at the time I got offered some gigs in town and like in the city, which was big for me. So I did my first gig in the city when I was about 18. And it's a funny story, because the first gig that I ever got paid to do in town was a strip club. So it was a bit of a funny story telling my mother that I got my first gig and it was a strip club when I was 18 years old. But it was because of the music I played too, like I played a lot of old school R&B and stuff, and people used to like it. So
it's because of dance too, I suppose.
Yeah. So that would have been my first paid gig in the city. But
how did that conversation go with your mum?
I mean, she understood, I was 18 at the time, but she was still a bit like, looking at me funny. But I said, hey, I'm getting paid, so you can't argue with me. But, it was an experience, to say the least. So I did 2 or 3 of those, and then started doing other gigs around the city. And I ended up doing a residency in the city in the same place for, I think it was 8 years after that. So I got started kind of young and kept at it for 8-10 years.
Wow, that's cool. And then that would have took you up to what? So that's up to 2010, 2009, 2010s, I guess.
That's right. So like, without diving into like the production start, I had started producing like maybe 2006, 2007 initially, and like really probably wasn't making tracks until 2008. But around that time, I was in a duo with a friend of mine called Rob James, who's known these days as Najid. He just released on my label actually last year.
I know.
He's getting
that's
back.
Cool.
A really good friend of mine. He actually went on tour with Pete Tong and Tiesto back in 2004. He won a big competition, so he was the one who initially got me into production. So I can tell you a bit about that in a bit. But we started as a duo DJing, and like I used to play open format on my own because I used to get paid. I used to DJ 4 nights a week, and it was good money for me. But me and him started doing our own like house music nights under our own brand, like Hot House we used to call it. And So that really brought me up to 2011, which is right around the time before I left for the US. So.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Cool. And then, so you started producing then to that. What was you making when you started producing?
We actually have one EP released under the artist name Star Tribe from 2010. We put it out on a French
Nice.
label called Stereofly. Yeah, they're still around today, actually, Stereofly.
No
But the sound
way.
was, yeah, they're still around. That music is still out there. It's funny when I look it up because it's on Spotify and it's on Beatport, and I listen back to it and think like, I can't even remember if we got those tracks mastered or if we tried to do it ourselves. Like, it was so long ago.
What did you make it in?
At the time, we were using Ableton, but we also used Nuendo, so which was the video version of Cubase. But I think we bounced those out in Ableton, and at that time, I think it was Ableton 4. It was like, that's when I started Ableton 4. Maybe 2010 was the later version, but I started on Ableton 4. And yeah, the sound was really weird, like, because we were into like the old school tech house sound, but we were also both into progressive house. So it was a bit of a mixed bag. So if you go look up Star Tribe and you see the EP, like the sound is like housey progressive, that kind of way.
Right. Okay. That's cool. It's mad that it's still out there. That's cool.
It is, and yeah, because like all their stuff, depending on the label, like the catalog might get taken down, but Stereofly is still around today, so like that music is still out there, keeps it up there, and it's a bit of a blast from the past when I see it, for sure.
Have you played it out recently at all? Have you ever played it?
But there's one of those tracks that I'm thinking about. Like, I have the stems for a lot of that still. Like, without going down the rabbit hole, like, and me going to the States, like, we had our own studio in the city too. We were really about to like give it a good go, and we had a bunch of music like saved, and the computer that we had in the studio crashed, and literally like we lost almost everything. I'm talking like 25 tracks that we had done, and we had already been pitching labels. So we saved it. I was able to save some of the stuff on the hard drive. We were able to recover some of it. So I have stems for some of the old tracks. So like there's at least one that I even know I like think that needs updating because it's a good track, So there's some that I think probably should never see the light of day again, but there's definitely one or two that I probably update and play out for sure.
That's mad. That's cool. Okay, so we started in R&B. So we started R&B, and then we got into house, and then you moved to the States, and then where did the kind of musical journey go when you got to the States? Because I guess around that time, that was the EDM explosion, and we had two things, didn't we? We had the kind of deep house and what was going on with Hot Creations around then, and we had EDM as well launching. So what happened with you in the music kind of world?
So at the time I was, so now there's an explosion in Latin house, right? Like, it's been coming for the last 2 years, but like I was always into Latin house. I have some old school Latin stuff as well, like Latin techie stuff, like the tribal kind of sound. So when I got to the States, I actually did DJ in Vegas for a couple of years. I had like
nice.
a residency in Mandalay Bay, played like Planet Hollywood and a couple of other places. And at the time, I was in like a weird EDM type of phase as well, because there was a lot of like commercial sounding music out as, like that EDM style. Not the harder stuff, but like the more, I suppose you call it big room, main room, that type of sound. So I played that for a while, but I was always still like trying to find the spots to get the kind of tribal music in there. I've never stopped loving tribal, like kind of Spanish sound, but now, everyone is doing it, so it's like, I could see that coming for years though. I could see that like becoming popular for years, and like saying there's going to be a day where everyone does this, and like, I remember a time where it was unique and niche, and when you heard it, like people reacted to it, and now it's like the sound,
Oh yeah, I used to like where was it? 2000, early 2000, 2004, 2005, 2000. There was some great tribals like Super Chumbo, and like there was some great tribal house around there, and it properly thumped as well. Like I remember going to those tribal parties, and like the kicks were super kick. Obviously, they were thumpy kicks, and I was just like, this is fucking great.
It was.
And it kind of went, yeah.
It was funky, and it was like, it was really unique. It did go, I don't know how it happened, but it kind of disappeared. Like the old, I guess like people's sound change, but between that and the old funky house sound, like for me, was like we need a resurgence of that as well, I think. And, you know, I'm in a position now where I could probably try and do that, you know, but I really love those two sounds as well. That old school funky house sound I haven't heard it yet, you know, it's a different sound these days, you know.
No, I've been waiting for it as well because it kind of like, and we're kind of at that point where it's like that old funky house album, the one that was around like 2001, 2002, 2003, like when you've got the old Creedence records, and that's literally where you had Swedish House Mafia, like we were like the really old Swedish House Mafia stuff, all that Axwell stuff, when what's his name? Yeah, back then that music was, Eric Prydz, that Eric Prydz album, that Eric Prydz EP on Creedence was fucking wicked.
I was a big Steve Angelo fan back then, and Axwell as well. They were my guys. Axwell was doing a lot of good funky stuff too. But before they created Swedish House Mafia, there was a Swedish House Mafia, I was big into those guys individually, and we played a lot of their stuff as well back then, like 2003, 2004. It was just a time in music that was great, and even now is a great time in music too. Like, don't get me wrong, but I'm kind of feeling like it's peaking out, and there's going to be something new coming again, you know.
Yeah, that track. There was a track, "Was Not Was" by Steve Angelo and Eric Prydz, and that was absolutely wicked. I flipping love that record. I think I hammered that record to death, man.
I probably haven't played that for years, but I would play that still to this day. Like,
yeah. I think I was driving at the motorway a couple of years ago, and it came on Radio 1 because I think they were doing classics on Radio 1, and I was like, what is? Like, I was like, what the fuck is this record? And you're like, what? You're like searching your brain. You're trying to drive and also searching your brain, going, what's the name of that vinyl? Like, and I could even see the cover, and I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake. But yeah,
I think I have it on vinyl here behind me somewhere as well. But yeah, it's a man.
But yeah, I've been waiting for that. I've been waiting for that sound as well, because I think we're in that kind of, at the moment it seems to be that faster sound where it's like, which was literally happening like the late 90s, end of 2000. And it's all like where the people that are 20, 23 now, they're basically what their parents were listening to around that time, you know. So, and that's their influence, and they've picked it up and they've run with it now in their own music. So it's that 20-year cycle. So I reckon a couple more years and we might get to that point where we're like back into the funky house, which I hope it does. It'd be cool. I like that sound. It was wicked.
I still have like a plan in my head that I'm going to make that sound. Like, I haven't sat down to really put time into it yet, but in my head I think, like, you know, I want to make like a real funky disco record, and I just haven't sat down to do it yet because I have so many other projects going. But like, I think you're right. I think like history repeats itself and music cycles as well. So I think you'll see a resurgence of that sound eventually again, you know.
It was always the big bass line, the big kind of bass line with it, wasn't it? And that was what drove the track massively. Like, yeah, man, that was cool. Anyway, right, so
evolved into Main House and Big Room, you know, those big bass lines. Like, I think it was evolved into that, you know. That's what happened there. But yeah, I think it'll come back eventually.
Yeah, and then when did the Notorious Lynch project start?
So that started in 2018, and so like I had a few years off production from when I landed in the States. I kept DJing, so like I've always been DJing. I'd say like in my whole 20 years now, or whatever it is, I probably only had like a year or two off where I haven't been DJing. So even like for the most part, I've been DJing all that time. But I did take a few years off production. I didn't have a studio. Once I settled here, like, and I met my wife and moved down to where I live now in California, I started buying gear again, you know, like just to start building up my studio. But I created Notorious Lynch because I saw a defected competition in 2018 with Point Blank Music School, DJ competition.
No way.
And I knew, like, it was to enter a mix, and, you know, you get to playing Defected Croatia or whatever it was. And I knew, though, like at the time, I said, right, like if you're going to enter here and your mix is good and they look you up, you don't have a profile, you're not a producer, and it didn't require you to be a producer, but I was saying, like, you don't have a profile, you don't have an identity. So that's the way I was thinking. I was like, like, I wanted to get going again, and that was like, honestly, that was the reason I got going again. Like, I created Notorious Lynch for that and started working on my first track while I was doing that competition, you know. So that's kind of the reason I started, is because I needed an identity and I didn't want to, you know, procrastinate any longer over names. I was a big fan of Notorious B.I.G., you know, like, and I just wanted to use my family name and like making music, and like I knew I was going to take it more serious, so that's where I came up with the name. But it was all because of that defected competition. And funnily enough, because it was through Point Blank Music School and the forums, I saw another competition they did later, a production competition, and I entered a track that I had made, a tribal track, and I had ripped the vocal from an old Christian Alvarez track, and Richard Earnshaw had remixed it, and I made the tribal track, and I knew it was missing something like a vocal, so I just sampled that vocal, put it in, and it was perfect. I got my wife speaks Spanish, she's Mexican American, to translate it for me, and I chopped it up so it made sense and stuck the vocal in, and I stuck that in the competition and won the competition.
No
which
way.
I never expected. Yeah, because I never expected to win, because I was up against like pop tracks, hip hop, like it was a general production competition, and here's me putting in a tribal house track, you know. But I ended up winning the competition. That was around 2019, and that got me a free certificate course, production course with Point Blank Music School. So I had started back my production journey, but that was an entryway into a school that I was already looking at to learn production again and hone my skills, because, you know, it had been 10 years since I really took it serious. So that really kickstarted me and got me to take like my music and artistry more serious, you know.
Oh, I bet. I remember that Defected competition. I think I played at that Defected Croatia. I think I was just trying to think whether it was. I think because I remember we were heavily involved with Defected Croatia back then, and I think I'm just going to Google it. I think I played that one. I played a load of those early ones for sure. Someone will be able to tell me. I think I'm just going to Google.
I think I remember, yeah, and it actually, because I ended up having like one of the best mixes in the competition. Like it was always up the top, but I didn't end up placing or anything in that particular competition. But I know one of the guys to this day that did TQ Grant, so I still be in touch with him. He was one of the guys that I don't think he won. I think he came second or third in the position. But they did take care of him, though. They did. I think they brought him to London, and he played on one of their streams during COVID as well. So
that's right. Oh no, I played 2017. That was the last time I went. 2017 is the last time I went. Wow, shit. Yeah, me and Ben Sterling playing on the we had a data transmission stage. Wow, there you go. That was a long time. Oh, nice. Yeah, we had a data transmission stage in the beach bar, and it was me and Ben, and playing because that's when Ben was hanging out with us loads, and we went with his dad, and he was playing, and I think there was a boat party, and Josh Butler was in a boat party, and the warm up didn't turn up, and I was like, can Ben play? And they basically pushed Ben into playing this warm up set in the boat party because he was there with a stick, and I was helping him out, so I was just like, can Ben play? And they were like, they all looked at me and went, yeah, okay. I basically just like pushed him into it and said, go and play. This
is your moment. Go.
Yeah. So
hey,
that's,
you got to be cheeky like that, right? You got to be cheeky sometimes.
Oh man, 100%. If there's an opening, right? I mean, get in there, go and play. Just get your stick out and go and play. Okay, so that Point Blank, that's a big win, that Point Blank competition, because they're a lot of money, those courses.
They are. It was a massive win for me, and like I said, I wasn't expecting to win it because it was a general production competition, but they liked the track, and I got to do their full production course. It was a 6-month course, and it was really, really helped me out. Like that was what I needed, like to hone my skills a bit. I use like Sonic Academy initially as well. I still subscribe there, even though I probably don't use it as much. But those courses are great. But the Point Blank thing really, like, because it's personal as well. You have an instructor, you can bounce things off them. So it was a big win for me there, and really like helped spur me on as well. But that track that I put in, obviously I sampled the vocal, so it ended up being my third release. But I reached out to I chased the rights, the publishing rights and everything, and it ended up being still with Richard Earnshaw. So I reached out to him, and it took about 12 months, but he helped me clear the vocal sample. So it ended up being my third release, and we were able to get it out with the vocal sample too, because I really loved the vocal, and I didn't want to do something else with it, so it took a while, but I got there in the end, like with it being able to release it with that vocal. So it all worked out in the end,
What's that track? I want to hear it. Is it on SoundCloud? Can we hear it?
Yeah, it's called Sigo Buscando.
Okay, I'm going to scroll back.
That would be way back.
I'm going to go way, way back. Oh, here, I found it. Should we have a listen?
Right, okay. Yeah, give it a spin.
cosas, para mantener el equilibrio en nuestro universo espiritual, donde la música puede preguntar muchas cuestiones y puede dar muchas respuestas. Es con este equilibrio con el que podemos realmente entender cómo completar nuestro viaje a través de la vida, que debemos seguir buscando.
Yeah, that was Sigo Buscando. 12 months it took me to clear the vocal, but I got there, and I still love the vocal and still love the original of that track, you know.
Big drums, big kind of. You can definitely see the tribal house kind of sleazy tribal house sound in there. That's like I love that sort of sound. It's cool.
Me too, and yeah, I guess like it's kind of everywhere now, but you're hearing different versions of the Latin sound now. But yeah, big drums is the key to that sound, you know.
I didn't realize you'd done that one. That's cool. And the story behind that, that's wicked. And then, because I was going to start the release he had on Lefty Shades called "Get Your Mind Right."
Yeah.
How did that? Let's talk about that one. Where did that come about?
So going back to the defected competition, got my mix entered, and then like knew I didn't have the track released at the time, but like I knew, okay, you got to start producing again and get music out. And as I did the competition, I started working on that track. I finished it, and so Jason Bustede, that you know as well from the course, he owns that label. And I know Jason from back home in Cork. Like Cork is a pretty small city anyway, and nearly all the DJs know each other. So I've known Jason for a long time. I was bouncing the track off him. I knew he had started the label like a little bit before that, and he was giving me feedback on it. So I think like the version that came out might have been like version 3 or 4, like by the time it was the final version. But like it was kind of special to me in one way because it was a label from back home, you know, Cork City based label. Or for me to put my first track out there, to me, like, is a bit sentimental, you know, but it did quite well as well. Like for him just had starting the label and me being new, it did pretty well. And for me to like land the first one there on a Cork label was important to me. And but that really, like I said, got me kickstarted. And once I had one, I had to do another and another, and that really just started the process from there. And so from there, I think my second track was the DTLA one, but probably the next track I did was that Sigo Buscando track. It just took so long to get out. Because of
the clearance. That's mad.
Exactly.
Okay, let's listen to the one on Lefty Show. Let's listen to this. Let's play this.
You have to fix the mind.
There we go. That was cool. Big drums again. Love it.
Big drums again. I think that was more like confusion in sound as well, like of like the big kind of drums from the tribal influences, and then trying to fuse it with deep house, you know. So it was a
nice vibe though.
I mean, I like it. I know it was my first track, but there's definitely some tweaks I would make, you know, these days to that track.
Yeah, I bet you were sitting there going, that would be gone, that'd be in, that'd be out.
But that's, you know, that's part of the process too, you know what I mean? Like working your way through your process and like not trying to make the same mistakes again. Not to say they're mistakes because it's your vision at the time, but you know, there's like, I would definitely tweak a lot of stuff in that now, and still like the vocals, still like the chords, you know, bass line's good. I would produce that a lot better this day and age, I think, you know.
Yeah, that's cool though. It's good. It's nice to look back and kind of go and see that kind of. Also, nice. It must be nice to see the kind of progression, like where you are now from a production point of view to back where it was then, and just kind of see the whole view. You know, the whole view. You know, you think the long term growth that you've had. It's cool, man. Must be nice.
Yeah, it's a journey, man. You know, like I think any producers, like guys in the chat or anything, will tell you the same thing. Like it's a journey, and you have to work your way through your process, and things will change, and your sound might change. To be honest with you, I can definitely see myself evolving over the last few years. Like it's a marathon, not a sprint, but it's just one of those things where I sit here and I still don't know that I found my true sound. You know, like you'll hear similarities in some of those records, like you heard drums there, but then my sound has changed over time, and I don't know if I've really landed on the signature sound yet. But I'm confident I will sometime. I'm just still working.
You'll get there.
Working. Yeah,
I think, I don't know. I think I've done that. Like I've done that with like DJing. Like I know from a DJ point of view, like over the years, like you'll start buying as you start seeing sounds evolve. Like you'll start buying a few records in one sound, and then you start liking the new sound. You're thinking, right, I like this new sound. I'm buying records, and then it might take like 2 or 3 years. So you've got a full collection. And you're like, right, now I'm actually playing the records that I've been loving for such a long time, but I've got enough to actually DJ with them as a whole set. And like, maybe it's definitely got quicker, but.
Like I probably have enough of a collection now to like where I can play a lot of my own records, but there's probably some like in the catalog there that I wouldn't play, you know, like, and it's just one of those things like where your sound and taste changes over time. Like I was telling my buddy there, Rob James Majid, like because we talk all the time about production, but I have so much music like finished. Some of it I'm probably never going to put out because I won't play the track myself at this point. So. And I won't be passionate about promoting that if I don't believe in it, you know. And the record's 100%. Done, got great feedback on it, probably could release it on a label, but like I just don't feel it anymore, you know. So I'm just, I'm going to let it sit there, you know.
That's really why, as you know, that's really like I preach that you don't have to release everything you make, and just there's so many records that people just put out there, and I'm like, why are you putting that record out? It makes no sense to your career path, and they're like, I want it out there, and I'm like, okay, you didn't have to. You could just, you keep it for yourself, and that's like you say, like you're saying, sometimes if you're not passionate about it, then that's cool. Very wise, isn't it?
It is good advice that you give, but it, like I will say, like being in the position, like it can be hard for someone to hear that, because they made the record and they want to get it out and they want to keep moving. But like genuinely at this point, like if I'm not passionate about the track for promoting it and getting it out to people, like that's half the battle for me. And one of the bigger things is like when I'm playing the DJ set, I want to be able to drop my own music, and if I'm not feeling it, then it defeats the purpose for me.
Yeah, exactly. So there's loads of comments in the chat. Let's have a look at some of these. CBR Radio says, knowledge and tech changes. A lot of my stuff sounds drier than the Sahara now. Influences changes too, yes. Lamore Disco said that track was sounding much better than his first track. Skeleton Key says a journey, an odyssey more like.
Yeah. Space Odyssey, yeah. Yeah, I'm right there with you, bud. Right there with you.
Irish accents are so relaxing. Yeah, it is. It's really relaxing. Do they struggle with it over there?
They do. I mean, my wife's family like probably still struggle with it, but like when I talk to my friends back home, and yeah, I know, I talk to them like they abuse me for like calling me a Yank, because this like I have to use certain words that like are subconscious to me at this point in time, but like to make American people understand me, I have to really slow down when I speak, like versus being from Cork, and even like back home we speak a lot quicker, and when you're speaking in your slang or anything, like I mean it's like another language to them, so I really had to like refine myself a little bit, but yeah, I can't help it comes out like the way it does, so.
Oh my God, yeah. I when I'm doing things, I'm like, if I'm speaking too fast, just wave or cheer or drop a load of ones in the chat, and I'll slow myself down because I speak so fast sometimes. Yeah. Slow.
But I have to remind people too. Look, if I'm speaking too quickly or you don't understand me, even in work, I have to do that because. My work, I deal with customers and people, even in my own company I work with. Like I look at people sometimes, even on a camera like this, and I'm looking at their eyes, thinking they didn't understand the word they just said.
Don't do that. They're looking at it going, "What's he saying?" You're like, "I'll just say it again." Welcome to my world with G.
Yeah.
Hi.
So it happens to me quite frequently, quite a lot.
And then, so then we had that really, and then what? So that first Lefty Shades, that was 2019, 2020?
That was 2018, Lefty
2018.
Shades. And then 2019 was DTLA, Dance With Me, and Sigo Buscando. I don't know if that was it for 2019, but yeah, I struggle to remember sometimes myself at this point. But yeah, it started in 2018, did a couple of records in 2019 and onwards from there.
That's cool. And then in 2021, you joined us on the course. Do you remember what the motivation was for joining us?
Yeah, I mean, I've been following you for a long time and I saw what you were doing. But like for me, like I would say it's still the struggle to this day, but it's not because of knowledge. It's because I haven't applied it myself yet. Like, and there's various reasons for that. But my initial motivation was social media, like, as you know, and something that you're very, very good at. So that was my initial thing, like, okay, that course appealed to me because I get to work with you one-on-one and get your expertise, which I did. And to be honest, like I haven't applied all that learning yet. And that's another story for me with like my relationship with social media, because it's just something that I haven't really fully like want to give myself yet, even though I know I have to. But the knowledge I got from the course. So the initial motivation was social media. I think when we talked, that's what I told you, like I need help with this. When I did the course, I got so much more out of it, you know, like music business, Facebook advertising, promotion, you know, like other forms of promotion. So I got way more out of the course than I ever expected to get. But my initial motivations was social media help, you know. Probably like most people, I think, you know.
Yeah, that now you're in the first run, and that was like we were all flying by the seat of our pants. And it was just like each week was a learning for both sides, I think, and it was fun though. It was great. Yeah, it was the beta version, and like I think we had a good group, and I still in touch with a lot of the guys from it. Like, and it was a good group, and I think being a beta version, it was very good. Like you have the online course now, which is excellent. I just started that actually recently again. I'm going to run through the whole thing online again. But like you've refined it over time, but like I thought the initial course was excellent. You know, I really did. And I don't know if it was because it was beta and everyone was included, or like it was a kind of like I don't know how the new classes are, but I do keep up with some of the recordings from Facebook. But I think that's what you do as well, as you bring people together like that. So like I haven't been in the other classes, but I know from the experience I had in that class, like it was excellent. Whether it was a beta version or whatever it was was really good. Yeah, that's cool.
It was, honestly.
It was good. It was good.
Really good.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It was good fun. And yeah, the online now just is refined, and I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with like where it is now. So it's good. I'm glad you're going back through it, because there's loads of new stuff in there that you're going to learn, which is good. I'm happy.
Yeah, and I get the emails and the updates and everything, and I am going to run through the whole thing online again. So like I'll probably be able to give more feedback after I do that again, because like comparing the two now that there's the online version and the update. But I'm looking forward to like getting through that as well. I just actually like you using calendars. I just like use my own calendar now to set time aside at night to do certain things. And the courses want to like get through the course again, because I want to start like utilizing the Facebook skills again, like, and get some advertising going for Spotify and things like that. So
that's killer.
To know is the course, you know. So
yeah, I love running Facebook ads. They're so good for growing records now. There's like, yeah, let me know when you've done that bit, if you need a hand, because we refine it and building a playlist off of it is like that part of this course now is so cool. It's step by step for ads, and it should just walk you through it. But if you need a hand, just obviously they've got the group calls, and just jump back in and we can look through it as well.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, so I'll run through the course, and I was going to probably reach out to you anyway, just because I had a couple of ideas and wanted to spin them off you and see if you wanted to use me as an experiment and help me out building a playlist and like pushing some tracks as well, and use it then for the other artists in the new courses, you know, because happy to be a guinea pig as well for that. But something I need to do, and I think everybody needs to do, is like push your records with advertising, push your playlists. Like otherwise, like you're just playing the social media game. And like I said, for me, I have a funky relationship with social media where I'm not fully committing to it yet, because I let me say this, because like I probably like dancing around it, but like I don't think I've found my niche for social media yet. And what I mean by that is I don't just want to do what everyone else is doing. Like you give great content ideas, right? the stuff you put out is excellent. But I just like, I see a lot of people doing it and I just don't want to do the same thing and jump on a bandwagon. I think when you see me fully engaged with social media, it's because I've found something that I don't think someone else is doing. And I'm confident I'll get there. But right now I just don't have that and I don't want to like commit to it yet, you know. So
that's cool.
But that's to my own detriment then with going to the social media, you know, and I understand that too, you know.
That's cool. As long as the records are still doing well, so you must be doing something right. But then also, well, we're talking about DTLA. I wanted to just touch on them a little bit. Like you've had multiple releases with them. How did that kind of happen? And how did that relationship start? And I think I saw 4 or 5 in a row, and that's really cool to build a relationship like that.
They've been great to me, man. So you know Jason Redux Saints, who runs DTLA. To be honest, man, he's been brilliant to me. How that started, so kind of going back the years again, when I created Notorious Lynch and started producing, like I'm just outside San Diego where I live, but like San Diego's the closest big city. Mm-hmm. There's a really good scene there now. I mean, like there always has been, like, but I was trying to break the scene, so I was investigating the scene, seeing who was over there. Who do I need to, you know, network with and things like that? And I came across a guy called Aaron Law. I don't know if you remember Aaron. He did Tool Room and had 2 labels. He had like A1 Recordings and Rhythm Culture, which is where I put out the Sigo Buscando track. He's off the radar now. He lives in Barcelona. He's like studying saxophone and stuff, but he's like off social media and stuff. But still keep in touch with him. Really nice guy. But he really good producer as well. He remixed that track, Sigo Buscando, so he did a remix.
Yeah, I just see. That's where I recognize. Yeah, okay.
You'll recognize the name because he did stuff with Jason as well. So Redux Saints and Aaron Law, they did a track together. Really nice guy, man. And like this is back again in like 2018. We were talking online, and he was trying to break the scene because he was in San Diego and didn't really know anyone as well. And like, so we connected and we just kept in touch, you know. Like I hadn't actually met him, but he got a gig in Tijuana in Mexico, which is right over the border of San Diego. He invited me down promoting a label night, and we were working out the track. So we'd been talking about releasing the track, and he invited me down to play, and Redux Saints was headlining. So I knew Redux Saints. I was a fan of his music anyway. Like I didn't know him personally, but I had been a fan of his music. I used to play that. So I met him and William at the time, who was involved with the label. People, you know, talking about music and so like-minded people, you know, like, but we just talk music. We talk like actually what they did for me, because I was telling them like I was struggling at the time, like getting responses from labels. So this was like maybe late 2019, mid 2019, something like that. And William, who was involved with the label at the time, said, send me your music, you know, like send me the stuff you have. And like, it was really good to hear that. And then talking to Jason too, like being a fan of his and like personally hearing his story and like his struggles too, being in his position at the time, was like, gave me a bit of confidence, you know, that everyone is dealing with the same stuff, you know, no matter what level you're at. So I sent them a track. They didn't take the first one I sent, but the second one was Dance With Me, and they signed it. So that kick-started the first of, I think, 3 records on the bounce with them, like Dance With Me. I did Get Ready Don't Stop and Groover, I think it was. Like COVID hit not long after that, you know, but Jason like was really good with keeping in touch with me, man. Like I still to this day I'm in touch with him. I played with them in Miami this year. I had him play my event in Miami last year. But like even during COVID, he invited me out to his live streams to play his live streams.
Nice.
Like helped me out by putting me on events, you know, and didn't have to do that for me. But obviously, like with me signing tracks to the label, and he like I really thank him for a lot of like pushing me and putting me out there, because he didn't have to do it, you know, but he did, and it really helped me out along the way, you know.
Yeah, he's doing some great stuff, and yeah, he's another course member now, so it's great to work with him from a course side as well, you know. All right, let's listen to Dance With Me then. Let's listen to it. Let's listen to it. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do this. Nice. Gone in full in a tech house.
Yeah, that was my birth into tech house, I think. But still, like, I would say, like, my sound encompasses like deep house, and tech house. But that was like I love pianos, as you know. We'll probably get to that later, but love pianos. But that was a fusion of like really like the traditional tech house bass lines and drums, and then sticking a bit of housey pianos in there and like hands in the air type vocal type of deal.
Yeah, we'll talk about pianos later when we get to the later tracks. I'd be interested to see where that piano love's come from. That'd be cool. What's the process when you start making these records? How do you work? Like, where do you start? Like, let's talk about that for a little bit.
So I would say, like, I don't have a defined process. I take the approach on each individual track, but I'm kind of like going back to my point there about my sound, like not fully finding my sound yet or my own sound. I think in every record that I put out, you're going to hear house, deep house, and tech house elements almost in every track. Some little bits of something. So like maybe that's my thing. I don't know, but there's like nearly every track I have, there's an element of each genre, which is kind of strange, So I'm a heavy sampler. Like, I sample a lot. So like my process involves a lot of like sample packs, but I also sample like other people's music. But I don't necessarily sample other people's music to let that be known. Like, I'll take something, completely flip it to the way I want it, Like, for me, it's not about like that little hook or something being recognized. It's, I hear something, I want to do something with it, and it's a new sound. So most of my records are sample based, but like flipped. Like, sound design for me was like, I love messing with the keyboard. My keyboard is right in front of me here. Like, I'm at the desk right now, but love messing with keys and banging out like MIDI and melodies. But I'm not traditionally music trained. So like when I bang out melodies and stuff on the keys, I'm drawing it on the screen then in Ableton.
Yeah.
So like my process involves a lot of sampling, whether it's sample packs or like sampling other records. But I don't have a defined approach yet. I just actually purchased a copy of the Tool Room Ableton template. They actually reached out to me to see if I do like some like a review kind of social media thing, which is cool. So I think you might see that soon. But I did that just to see what their template looks like, so that maybe I haven't really made my own template yet. And even with the knowledge I have, I should have at this point like a defined template. But then I don't really want to be stuck into like making the same type of record every time either, Now, I know that doesn't mean you'll do that, but like if you have a structure made out where here's your intro, here's your drop, here's your break, and then you have your tracks made out, it's easier to fall into a habit of like everything sounding the same, I think. So I'm kind of a bit reluctant with that as well,
Did you do the Tool Room courses as well? Because I know you did, like, say you did Point Blank, and did you do the Tool Room ones?
I didn't yet. I'm still thinking about it. Like, I definitely think I'll get value out of it, because even the template I got value out of, like and in the review I sent them some videos, like they asked me to do it, so I don't know if they're going to put it out. I'm waiting to hear from them. But like
That's
one
cool.
of the things I said is like, for that, new producers or seasoned producers will get value out of it. Like there were some things in the template where validation that I'm doing things the right way, and then other things where I said, shit, I didn't know that. Now I see why they're doing that, and I got value. But yeah, I haven't done that yet. But
I've done things like that where I watch things and I go, oh, good, I'm doing it right. Oh, good. I like it's like oh, good, I'm doing it right. Okay, that's
the first thing I did was go to the kick and the bass and the low end and how they processed it and how they grouped it. And I was like, okay, I do that. So that's at least reassuring.
I'm okay. We're all right.
I'll be Tool Room are doing it, I'll be okay, I think. But yeah, like, so you know Willie Rosado and Jason, obviously, but both of those guys have recommended me to do it too. Like, Jason's been like pushing for me a while to do the masterclass. Actually, he said like that's what I'd get the most value out of doing what he did, which was the masterclass. And I see now they have the degree program as well, which is more like music business based as well, I guess. You do a bit of everything. So definitely on my radar to do something with them because of who they are and like the knowledge they have. So and to be honest, you're like, no matter where you are or what level you are, like, I don't care if you're at the top of your game, like you never stop learning. So like I'm always looking for new things, and like that's definitely on my radar, I know for sure.
That's cool. I'm gonna give you the big question that's normally in the chat. What are your top 5 go-to plugins? Go number 1.
my number one is a free plugin actually, Span by Voxengo, and it's just like a spectrum analyzer, like the best. Honestly, it's like for mixdowns. It really has helped me with my mixdowns. So not a VST, nothing anything fancy or expensive. It's free. Anyone can go get it right now. But it's like been a massive help for me on mixing things down. So really like Span. I think another cheap one, which I use in every record, is Nicky Romero Kickstart, which is like a sidechain, basically. I like that because there's presets on it, but you can adjust the presets. But I use that because I sample a lot. And like, obviously you're using sidechain for mixing or for sonic effects, but I think like some of the presets in there give really good sonic effects on samples that I do. Like it helps like change the sound a little bit. Like maybe it's just my ears, but like I really like that. Like for okay, I'm sampling, I'm chopping two bass lines together or whatever it might be. Once I put that on it and I use the sub preset, it changes the sound with the kick. You know, when you hear it, and it really helps. It helps the bass line then. You know, so that's my number two. I think some of the obvious ones, the Core M1. The piano, which is the classic. The probably not one that may be super popular, but I really like it. Number 4, Loop Masters chords. So I think chords that I made from the first track that you heard, Get Your Mind Right, is from Loop Master chords. So if you're into deep house or chords in general, that plugin is excellent. And I get probably a tie between Serum and Silent for me. And if I can give a quick shout out, like maybe number 6, some new tools I've got, like are mixing tools from Mixmasters, like that I've been using for like intuitive EQ and things like that. And they've been really helping me as well, like for mix downs and like processing sounds. So a shout out to like Mixmasters too, because their stuff is really reasonably priced, but like will help any producer like with mixing their tracks, you know.
Skeleton Key says the loudest shout ever. My top plugins are my free ones at the moment. That's cool.
Yeah,
we'll get to-
Span for me the number one, like a free plugin. Go get it, everybody, because like it's free, doesn't take up space. It will you will get value out of it. So like, why not have it there? It's a really good tool, you know.
That's cool. I love that. I love a freebie. Let's move on music then. So then we went on Slightly Sizzled, did we? And that was. You had an EP on Slightly Sizzled. That's fun to say. Slightly Sizzled.
That was Slightly Sizzled. Yeah, it's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it?
Let's talk about that one. When did that happen?
So that one to me was like, it was a big release because it had Junior Sanchez and Casey Ray remix, right? It also had, that was a big record for me. There was a big backstory to that. So, like, I had submitted that track to Slightly Sizzled, I want to say, 2020. Like,
wow.
I would have submitted it to Deep Tech LA, but I had just signed Get Ready Don't Stop, and that was coming out. And I had the Groover track that I signed with them later that year that I knew I was going to send to them. So I didn't send Jason that track, but I probably would have sent it to him another time, you know. But I was really liking the Slightly Sizzled sound at the time, and I sent it in. And so this is 2020, and COVID was just hitting, and I had sent him a couple of tracks, so he didn't like the other stuff. And Cricket is the guy that runs the label, nice guy as well, Cricket. And we kept in touch, and he didn't like some of the other stuff, so he was going to take that track, Skittin, and Skittin is like, you know, you're Skittin laughing. There's a laughing sample in the track. So
right.
Like, some people don't. You guys will get that back home because of the slang, but like in America, they probably didn't even know what it is. But like, it's because the track is like, oh, yeah, Skittin laughing. So maybe it's just an Irish thing. So in Ireland, we'd say I'm Skittin laughing, but because the whole track has a laughing sample in it, so that's where the name came from. But he liked it, and he said, "Hey, I'm going to put it on our summer compilation. Is that all right?" And I said, "Yeah, perfect. Like, no problem." And that never came out. So I kept in touch with him. He's like, "Okay, we pushed it because of COVID. It was going to be September." So like, long story short, this went on for a year. Track never came out. I hadn't signed a contract or anything at that point, but like, I wanted to release on the label, you know, as a fan of the label. And COVID was really like, obviously after hitting at that point. So we got to 2021, And it was even to the point where he told me, hey man, look, I've been dragging this out, so if you want to go somewhere else with the track, I totally understand. And I was like, you know, man, I wanted to sign with you, so I'm willing to stick it out. Like, I'm not in a rush to get the track out. Like, when you're ready, but just let me know that there's a plan, kind of thing. So he did. We kept in touch, and it kept dragging out again for another few months. And like, I probably got to my breaking point with it, where like I was going to pull the track and say, right, like I can get this somewhere else. And it was a good track, good reception, like when it's played out and everything. So I was probably at my breaking point, and he came to me and said, hey, would you be interested in doing the track as a single with remixes? I said, well, who's remixing? And he said, Junior Sanchez. And I said, yeah,
I'm in.
Yeah. Like, I'm honestly a huge fan of Junior's music. Always play his stuff out. So like for me, that was like, Jesus, Junior, like absolutely, you know. And then Francis Davila, that's how I got to know Francis, and I can tell you a bit more about that. Francis was remixing, Andre Salmon remixed with K-Mac, and then K-Mac did a remix, and then Andre Salmon, Cricket himself, and Apollo 84 did like a kind of collab remix. So when he sold that to me, I was like, fuck it, let's do it. I don't care how long it takes, let's do it, like whatever it takes. So that was mid-2021, and the track didn't end up coming out. That release came out right before Miami 2022, I think in March. So like from my track submitting the demo to when it came out was 2 years, you know?
Wow. Wow. It kind of sounds a long time, but then when you think you've got at least a year and a half, and 18 months to COVID in there, then
yeah,
it makes it like when in years down the line, people be like, it took 2 years to get a record out, and they were like, what? And you'd be like, oh yeah, it was just COVID.
But like in the end, it was worth it because it had Junior on it, and Casey Ray as well jumped on the track. So like what happened there was Junior had the baby that time, I think, so Junior was super busy. I got a sample from Junior and the guys at the time saying, here's what I'm working on. It was absolutely ace, disco, dubby version of the track. Nice. And like Junior got super busy, so he brought in Casey Ray to help him finish the track because he was on paternity leave, I think, at that time. So Casey Ray jumped on. So it was great to have Casey Ray involved with the track as well, and have those guys like, my name associated with Junior and him as well, like two legends. So the number one track on Slightly Sizzled, I think, since then, and
no way
was the Junior. My original was right behind it, number 2. So it did really, really well for me. Yeah,
that's really cool. Let's have a listen to the original. Let's play this. There we go. That's a great track. Great ear candies in there.
Nice
little noises all over. I love it. Lush.
Yeah, I think that's like the secret to like production is like filling the space, like the dead space with little things like that. And like, the more you do that, the more like ear candy. That's exactly what it is. That's what labels are looking for. And like when there's dead spots in tracks, like you can do little subtle effects and like even little pieces of percussion or whatever it might be, just to catch the air and keep people interested and keep people dancing, So appreciate it though. I really like that track. And then the guys like did a kind of disco dub version and completely flipped it. So that's that nice. Whole EP, like, something for everybody,
That's really cool. Really cool. Skeleton Key says you can definitely hear the 2010s deep house influence. Yeah, you can massively. Miguel Miggs Dusky says, yeah, I agree.
And I think that's kind of maybe that's my thing. Maybe my thing is like having those like deep house and techie influences in each track, because I feel like there's little pieces of everything in the 3 genre. Like I think I encompass the 3 genres in each track I make. Like subconsciously. And I hear that too there, like it's really kind of minimal as well. And that was the kind of slightly sizzle sound at the time, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely, like, just listening to the tracks across, like, as a whole, like today, like, you can definitely see the kind of, there's a style that follows through them all. Like, they're kind of low and groovy and, you know, with big drums. And yeah, there's definitely, there's definitely, like, just listening to them in a row that you can hear it, you know?
Nice one. Yeah. Maybe I'm not like haven't processed that, but like hearing, you know, and talking about it, like, is making me think like maybe that's it. Maybe that's my thing, you know, like having those 3 genres in each track, you know, or little pieces of them anyway.
Yeah. Wicked. Okay, well, let's carry on. That was I love that track. That was wicked. I've heard it before. And it sounds wicked. It sounded fresh as well, like today. Like you could.
It does really well, man. Anytime I play it, like, and that's kind of like we talked about earlier. Like, you have to make music that you want to play out, and like I still play that out, and it does get a good reaction. So I'll still play that to this day. And it's only a year and a half old, and I'm not playing every weekend like the superstar DJs, but like I play that out still, and it works, you know.
So then we started having all these releases. Obviously, you've done the course 2021. What did you get out of it that you can you've been using to kind of push your releases and get more out of your releases, make them essentially do better? What did you get out of the course from that side of it?
I think like your advice, like you were saying there, is like not releasing everything first of all, you know, like understanding that like some stuff should be put aside. But I think even in your course, like you talk records as well, and like what records need, and you running labels as well, and for a long time, like understand like what a released record needs and what it takes to get there. So I got a lot of that out of the course too. And big thing as well was like music business and publishing for me. Like you go through that as well, and understanding the composition of a song, who owns what rights, things like that. Like, it's really strange. Like, the music business is the music business, right? But like, and we go down a rabbit hole, but like for an electronic music artist, you're the producer, you're the DJ. So you're the producer, you're the song composition, and then you're the royalty side of it, like when you release it. And if you have your own label, you're publisher, composer, songwriter, you're everything, you know. And I don't know that like there's enough education out there around that. And I think your course caters to that too, because that's the industry you're in, you know. So that's one niche I think you have there, that like it really helps electronic artists versus like reading a music industry book. The music industry doesn't change, but like, what's a songwriter versus a producer? Like, I'm a songwriter because I compose the tracks. I also produce the track. You know, you're the artist when you release it. So it's kind of like your course helps drive that home for people as well, that you're each part of the record, and to understand your rights with that as well, to help you get paid on the back end. So
yeah, I guess, yeah, because it's like, obviously it is focused really on dance music and electronic music, because obviously that's what I know. And but you're right, so much of everything else is geared to bands and songs and songwriters, and it is confusing trying to come to transpose it over for some people, which is, I'm glad that's helped, man. That's cool. That's really cool.
No, it's been really helpful, yeah. And I think like you're probably one of the only people doing that, you know, and there needs to be more of education for like electronic music personnel. So the bigger your course gets, and like I hope people see this and like understand what they'll get out of that course, because that's essential for any like DJ producer, you know.
Let's talk about the label. So when did the label start? One Dance Left. Tell me about that. Where did the name come from? Let's chat labels.
All right. So label. So I think since I was younger, like I always wanted to be a producer, whether I started or not. And then I always was interested in the business and record labels. So like in my heart, I always knew I was going to start my own label. I didn't know when, didn't know what it was going to be called, but like it was always a goal of mine to like have my own label. So it was born during COVID. And so the name comes from, do you remember the song from the New Radicals called You Get What You Give, or You Only Get What You Give?
Yeah. I think
got
so. Yeah.
The music in you.
Yeah. Right. So, that's cool.
That's where the name comes from, that song. But it was because it was the middle of COVID again. It was probably early 2021, and we were watching a movie in the house, my wife and daughter. It was an Adam Sandler movie called Click, and that's like the title theme song for the movie. But it was the lyrics, like, honestly, this is going to sound funny, people probably laugh, but like, it was like the fucking song spoke to me at the time, because of the lyrics. you look up the lyrics and like you've got the music and you don't give up. One dance left, and the next like the world is going to pull through. Middle of COVID, everybody's depressed. Fucking everything's closed. Like I was trying to figure out what I was trying to do. You know, like I was, and we were watching the movie, and the movie ended, and the song came on. Oh, I was really like the song, but never really paid attention to it. But in that moment, that fucking song spoke to me, and it was a kick in the ass for me to say stop procrastinating. And right there in that moment, I said to my wife, "That's it." I said one dance left, and said I'm going to start it as a radio show. And I did. Like that's when I came to you for the radio show as well. And I said I'm going to start it as a radio show, but that's going to be the name of the label. I need a few months to get my shit together, like get a business set up and everything, do some research, and because I had been always researching and I knew what I needed to do, but I needed to get some more stuff. And so radio show started in 2021 and the label launched in 2022. So lucky to be able to launch it during Miami Music Week with a big event that Todd Terry headlined for me. And that's a whole nother story as well. But like that was a massive platform for you were involved with that as well. Like when we did that, first Miami Music out of COVID. But that was the launch party, and the first record was my own Late Night Lovers, which did pretty good as well. But that's the backstory on it. Like the name comes from the song, but really like it was that moment in time where everybody probably needed a bit of motivation. And like honestly, I felt like that song spoke to me. The lyrics jumped out at me, and like I said, it was the kick in the ass I needed to get up and go. You know?
Oh, that's such a lovely story. Oh my God. I love that. I like that movie. I like that movie as well. It's funny, that movie.
It is. Your man is great in it. What's his name? Christopher Walken. He's in it too. He's brilliant in it.
Yeah. That's a good film. I forgot about that film. That's cool. But yeah, that's mental. That's mental. When you're saying those three lines, and you start thinking in the middle of COVID, you're listening to that record. It would give anyone a kick up the bum. Jesus, CB Radio. Did you shed a tear? I think I probably would. Holy moly!
I honestly I didn't shed a tear, but I look back at it and think like I still feel like that song spoke to me, like, and like it's because of you, like whoever was watching this, like just go look up the lyrics, because like that song it's critically acclaimed for being one of the best written songs. Like they were a one-hit wonder, I think, but that song is like there's political statements in there, like, but in that context, in that moment, and it's like music in general is subjective, you know, like it speaks to people differently. But for me, that's what I got from the song was like, hey, everything's gonna be fine. Everyone's got one dance left. Get up and go. Do your thing. Stop procrastinating. And here we are. You know, things have been going pretty good, so I can't complain.
That's cool. So then the radio show started on DC Radio, and that's now what 30. I saw. Is it 20, 30 shows in deep? That's mental.
Yeah, 25 was the last one. Yeah, so I did I'm like 25 deep, but I did miss 2 months because of like personal stuff. So I would be on like 27 or 28 by now, but yeah, we're on 25. So it's been going for. Yeah, I've been going for a while and been going really well as well. Like the radio show has been really good for me too. And I'm probably going to realign some stuff with the radio show soon. So I'll talk to you about that. Like I'm definitely continuing, but I might realign like some stuff, like take Notorious Lynch in one direction and the label in a separate direction, and do the radio show a little differently. But more to come on that. More to come on that in the planning stage.
Has the radio show helped you build the label? I mean, obviously you said you started it first, and that was the plan. And has it then helped you build the label? And has it helped you get guests for the label, or like with the networking and building the label? Absolutely,
yeah. I mean, it's like first of all, it's your brand and your platform, right? My main platform for speaking to people and putting my music out and the music I like, right? But it's also a platform for networking, like to bring people on as guests, which I've done, and has helped me like nurture relationships with people. It's given, like, being on data transmission and working with you as well has given me the entryway into like media passes for EDC and things like that. Like you've allowed me to do some, man, it's like it's super fun, and like you have to have something like that to do it. Like DT's been a major help for that, but they look at my platform as well then, and like I will, like, we're not a big label and don't have a big social media following, but like even being in Miami the last couple of years, people know who we are, and they know who we are because of the radio show, because of the people we work with and associate with. Like we did the Francis track with Robbie Rivera, Todd Terry headlined the party, but like even this year we were hanging out with Todd Terry in Miami because of Willie and Joe Ventura and that crew, like Alexander Technique. Like it just opens so many doors for you in so many ways. And even guys at Todd's level, right? They recognize the hustle in other people, and they realize like putting in the work and like it's like-minded people no matter what level you're at. Like he's a really nice guy as well, Todd. But a lot of the guys are, because they might be at a certain level, but they realize you're on your journey and you're putting in the work too. And it opens a lot of doors here, man. So like if someone is watching this and thinking about it, like I highly recommend like starting your own radio show at least and creating your own brand, because it's brand awareness for the label too, and it really helps open the doors,
Yeah, that's cool. I love them. I love that people when you like you say, you use it for that thing, and for me that's the big thing about the radio shows. It's the networking part of it. It's the I forgot we did the EDC thing. Yeah, we got those press passes to go on, and you did loads of interviews at EDC just because we used the radio show and we used data transmission and blagged you some passes for EDC, didn't we? Shit, I forgot about that. Fuck. Yeah,
Dom Dalla, man. We did the interview with Dom Dalla as he's obviously one of the biggest DJs in the world, but did the interview with Dom, and he was playing the main stage at EDC that time that night, an hour. We got him an hour and a half before, and he was out. He an hour and a half later, he was in front of 90,000 people, DJing. So
fuck.
It's
it's mental at EDC as well. It's mental at EDC as well. It's so big there. It's so big in Miami. Jesus, I went there.
It's I can't get over the scale of these festivals. It's insane. I think probably in the UK, Glastonbury is the biggest, right?
170.
It's not comparable. There's 500,000 people going through the gates in 3 days, but probably the closest comparable to Glastonbury, but not in a single day, But still, it's like a mini city when you walk in there. 30 is and a lot of the stages are 500 feet. It's overwhelming, but an experience again like that. If you're going to be in the industry, you should experience it and get a feel for it,
I remember me and Carly Wilford were we blagged onto a boat, and then we got onto a boat and we were like, what should we do now? And then we ended up behind Cole. I ended up behind Carl Cox in the mega structure, and that was ridiculous because it's just a sea of people. And I was like, "What the fuck?" And I literally was literally right behind Carl, because me and Carly Wilford were basically playing a game to see who could get further behind, see who could get a better picture and get blagged further behind somebody. And just because we were being stupid, basically. But yeah, it was fun. It's massive, and I can't believe it. Yeah, EDC. Yeah, is it split over 2 weekends? I think
EDC is over 3 days. That one is in Vegas, but they do it over 3 days. And the Ultra one is in Miami, and that's over 2 or 3 days as well on the Miami Music Week. So, but yeah, they haven't spread it over. Coachella is spread over 2 weeks.
That's right. Yeah,
they do 2 weekends. That's actually huge. Not too far from me. That's only about 90 minutes for me, but I haven't really been to the festival yet. But I probably will try and do the media pass thing eventually for that too. But it's really about not just to blag the media passes or get in there, but it's what can you do? Who can you network with? It's 100%. Look at the schedule and see who you want to talk to and who you want to work with eventually at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yes, that is the same EDC that was at the Bowl in Milton Keynes. Yes, it was. Yes. Yeah, I agree. It is. That's it. It's the strategic networking at a festival. Where am I going? Who am I going to see? Whose management do I want to try and bump into? Who can I network with? Yeah, 100%. I'm all about. Literally how I built to DT. Which parties do I need to go to meet the right people to help me grow? As
and
opposed to just going
it's another thing. It's another thing you bring up in your course, but probably a forgotten element, a forgotten fundamental is the networking part of if you want to network, you want to be in a crew, or you want to get in with a label, or you got to turn up to these parties and you got to try and meet these people and introduce yourself, and don't go in the door and say, hey, can you sign my track, or can I get this from you? It's genuinely go and build a relationship, go and support, start building your relationships. Don't go in asking for something, or here's my, if you want to be cheeky, say here's my demo, whatever, but people probably don't react well to that. But that's the foundational thing that you need to do is get out there and network with people you want to be associated with, but make it genuine, make it genuine,
Yeah, I was at a festival the other week, and someone literally they gave me a demo, and I stood by the side of the stage, and they literally went to Danny Howard, who was playing at the time, and tried to give him a demo whilst he was DJing, and I was just like, what are you doing? Like, wait till he comes off.
Yeah.
Like, would you like that? Yeah.
No,
Danny was not happy.
I mean, be cheeky, but don't be that cheeky. That's a bit much.
Yeah, exactly. And then from a label point of view, you've had some great Beatport success. Like, I've been watching it, and it's like you keep getting these mad chart placings. What are you doing? Have you got any tips? How do you get up there? How are you getting up the Beatport chart?
I probably could talk about Beatport all day, but I'd say like Beatport, like you really you probably know this as well, but like you got to understand how Beatport works, right? Like if you have a tech house track and you put out a single, like it's really, really difficult for that to chart in the main charts, right? Like that label would have to be signed up for hype, and you have a better chance of hitting the hype charts because tech house is like the main genre in the world right now. Everybody's doing it. How many tracks are every week? It doesn't mean like if your track is tech house, call it deep house, because it just means like you gotta like have expectations of what your track is and where it's going. So like even when you're signing for labels, like try and sign to a label that signed up for hype, because you can get charting in the hype easier than you will in the main charts. That's one thing. Another thing is conscious of like, for me with the label, I'm very conscious of like how I select the genre for the track. Like I won't cheat it, but you can cheat it. Like minimal deep tech, deep house are easier to chart in than tech house, 100%. You don't need as many sales. So I do see people doing that though, like putting a genre that doesn't make sense on a track to get in a chart, you know. Afro house is probably easy enough to chart in, you know, like because they don't get a lot of releases. But so there are a couple of things. Another big thing is releases. Like if you put a release out, the release charts are easier to hit than the singles charts, you know. Like for instance, the Late Night Lovers track, the first release on the label went up to like the number 3 release. I was right there behind Toolroom, but because the release was charting, not single, you know. But for a label starting off or for a DJ starting off, that's all exposure that like you need, you know.
It's good
like
social content as well.
It is. That's exactly it. Like then you get like do those things to get your social content, and then that opens people's eyes to like, who's this person? Let me check out their other music, and then you start to get followers on Beatport. So the next time you put music out, it's getting put in front of them. You know, when you log in and you see the recommendations of what like you bought from other people. So there are some things you can do, and definitely some of the things I do. But be very conscious of like where you're putting the music and how you're putting it on Beatport, you know. Because it all helps. Like for you to try getting the top 100, like it's almost impossible unless you're a big name, you know. When we did the last release, the Rise remixes for Francis Davila, all the tracks charted eventually. Cratex one was the last one to get in, but everything charted. But Doc Brown's remix, which was a dubby remix, like ended up in the main charts, which was unbelievable, you know. Like that's that cool. Track like really hit the hype charts, but it went in the main charts too, which was great. But Beatport is a beast, you know, but they are the little things that I think like people should focus on and just like really set expectations that like, you know, it's hard to chart depending on where you're putting it. But like when you're looking for a label, try and get a label that's in the hype charts, because you will chart easier there than you will in any of the others. But I think Beatport is definitely a necessary evil because it's where the DJs buy their music. But like you've got to put your focus into Spotify now, you know?
Yeah, that's good. That's exactly it. Yeah, and I think also when you get in those charts, when you get in those hype charts, there are DJs that will just go and buy the hype chart, and they'll buy all the tracks in the top 20, and that's going to help push you up to the bigger chart anyway as well, which is, you know, helps leverage that, you know.
And the people may not know this, but like labels have to pay to be signed up for hype. It's like, you know, whatever it is, a monthly fee. But the big labels can't sign up for it. So like you're not going to see Defected or Toolroom in there because it's based on sales. People probably don't realize that like you can't be in the hype charts if you have a certain amount of revenue from Beatport. So you won't see the bigger labels in there. But like, for instance, like John Summit started his label, put out a track, fucking went to number 1 in the hype. Of course it does, because he's John Summit, you know. But so like you're competing against stuff like that, but for the most part, it's a lot more fairer game for smaller labels and newer artists, you know.
Yeah, because he would have been classed. His label would have been classed as a brand new label with no sales, and he would have been able to get in there. But then the second release, the third, probably not in there.
He's straight up there, yeah, like number 1 hype, and then like jumps in the main charts because his name and his followers, you know. But so like that's kind of cheating it, but like at the same time, you're going to come up against that, and it's out of your control. So, you know, don't dwell on those things. Just keep moving forward, you know.
Right, let's play another record, and then I'm going to get your top 5, and then you get your 5 things producers need to know. So I thought we'd play Vamos A Bailar.
Bailar. Vamos a bailar.
Tell me about this record.
That means let's go dancing.
There we go. That was cool. I can see that. I can see Loz hammering that sort of track. That's got Loz all over it. That sort of track. That was cool. I like the little piano.
Loz, I'll send it. Yeah.
Oh my god, he lives all the Latin stuff. Loz is all over at the moment. Okay. Why do Gorp says CB Radio Codes? Why do I feel like we need the urge for a Gorp analogy? Oh my god! If you missed my Monday stream even, we had basically remix competition winners. We listened to the remix competition which Gorp put up, and he literally gave an analogy for each of the entries of how it made him feel listening to it, and one of them was like,
wow.
One of them was like, if you imagine you're driving along and a fly hits your windscreen and then it goes up the wind and you're trying to flap it off with the wiper and it's basically just left a mark. And that's how I feel about this record. And we were all literally rolling around. And then another one was like, what was another one? Another one was like, all babies are ugly. And this is how this and when you look in a pram and you see an ugly baby, well, that's how I feel about this record. And we were just dying. Everyone in the stream was dying with laughter because it was so random. I've never known a brain to be so random, but also so funny at the same time.
That's insane. I'm gonna watch that one back actually, just to hear that because that's funny. That's really.
Oh my
funny.
god! Loz is in the. I could hear Loz rolling around with laughter in the house. Like the door was obviously open, sunny, and all I hear is this blah from the house. Oh my god!
Oh Jesus!
Yep, holy moly! And then finally, if you could sum up how working with us and the course was, and would you recommend it to others?
Oh yes, absolutely. Highly recommend the course and DT, like whether it's a radio show or like just doing a course of your artist. Highly recommend working with Graham Farmer, data transmission, or anything associated with both. I've got so much out of that artist blueprint course. Like it's really hard to put a monetary value on it, So it's worth the investment. Like you get a lifetime relationship too, like you're really good at supporting. You're running a business too, like. Where you help a lot of people for free, which at times you could probably charge for, but you're really, really great, man, at like helping people. And I think when you're considering the course, like the content and everything, everybody's going to get something out of it. But having a relationship with you two and like being able to pick your brain on some things, man, I think you do so much stuff for people that you don't probably get the credit for. That's why I would recommend it, because it's been amazing for me, man, and onwards and upwards now with the radio show, with what you're doing. Like I want to work with you on some of the Facebook advertising, and like I said, feel free to use me as a guinea pig for the course as well. But yeah, man, I highly recommend it because it's like, again, no monetary value can be put on what I got out of it for sure,
Wicked. Thanks, dude. And then let's just ask lastly, what do you like to do outside of music? What's your downtime? What do you like enjoying outside of music? How do you spend your downtime?
Well, I'm pretty busy like day to day with work, so like for me even trying to carve out the time for music is difficult. But like I have a wife and daughter. Like we like to travel. Like we like to be lazy too and watch movies. So like my downtime is really like time. She's got a big family, so like we're always doing things together. Like obviously my family's back home in Ireland, so we're always with her family. But it's great. They're so like such a big family and such a tight unit. Like we're always doing. There's always something happening. You know, there's always something going on. So big family guy. I guess like outside of music and family, like my interest probably just like anyone else, like movies and TV shows. But like having the time to sit down and watch Netflix is like it's either like late at night.
Yeah,
Like, and I'm probably watching Netflix, or it's just like it's not possible, you know. But music is my thing, you know. Music is my passion. It's my hobby, but it's my profession now too. I'm trying to make it a profession, you know. It's a long journey. I know like I said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So I'm in it for the long haul, you know. I'm not trying to rush anything. Still working through processes, but that's my hobby as well. But it's, you know, it would be nice to turn the hobby into a profession, you know.
Let's play one final record. You just released a record on DT Weapons. Key Love. Tell us about Key Love. Tell us about, because we spoke about keys earlier, pianos, and tell us about that quickly.
I love piano, man. I'm not like it's on my list of things to do. Learn how to play piano properly. Like I can bang out some keys. Like don't get me wrong, but again, what I bang out on the keyboard, I take the Ableton and I draw. So if I'm not sampling piano, I'll bang it out on the keys here in front of me and adjust it in Ableton. But love piano house. Always love piano house. Going back to the 90s rave type hard house, piano house type deal, you know, like that's where I heard piano house first and fell in love with it, and now like I just love it. So like I have a lot of tracks where you'll hear piano, you know, like it's in my sound as well. But a funny story about Key Love. So you remember the Discord producer collab challenge, right?
Yes.
So I paired with Strange Neighbors, the two boys, and so it was time for me. I didn't have a lot of time to knock it out. So like they sent me stuff that was like drums and bass line were excellent. And I had been working on that track, and that track was done. Key Love was done. I said, you know what, let me try the bass line and the drums here. So I took their stuff, put it with my stuff. That was our collab. We did have a track. We sent it in for the challenge. You guys gave feedback and said, bass line could be a bit more funky or needs a vocal. And like what happened was, like the feedback was great and it was spot on actually. So I went back to the guys and I said, look, here's my original track, which had already encompassed your guys' feedback from before, you know, it was already made. I said, look, I'm thinking about sending this in, but I want you guys to hear it before you think I'm running away with my track. And they said, man, like, that's your track, you know, it was done already and that's the feedback. So like send it in. So we are still going to collab and probably come back.
Nice.
But that's how the track, like that's how the whole thing started. Is like I had the track done, tried to fuse it with them. It was coming to you guys anyway in one way, shape, or form. And once I told them, and they said, like, "Go ahead, man." So I sent it to you guys, and you guys liked it. And I think you might have put it on one of the streams. Actually, I think I sent it in for the demo on the Discord.
I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been great. Yeah, did pretty good.
There we go. That's sounding great still. I love it. It's creeping on the streams as well. Like I was looking at it this morning. It's creeping up on the streams, which is great. Yeah,
the streaming can be kind of slow, but I see it going up, so I'm really happy with that. It did well on Beatport, so now like focus on like Spotify getting the streams up. Yeah, I see it moving up as well, so that's a good thing. But streaming can be a slow kind of build and slow process. But yeah, I appreciate everything you guys did with it. I know you guys are pushing it from your end as well, so I really appreciate it. But yeah, did well and really enjoyed that track as well.
Yeah, wicked. Wicked, thank you so much for doing this, dude. Thank you so much for getting up so early. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being here. And it's been mental hearing the whole journey. And thanks for sharing it with us today.
No, thanks for all the help, man, and for you, man. Appreciate all your help and DT's help, and keep up the good work, man, because you're doing good things. And like I said earlier, highly recommend it to anyone thinking about it. Do the course or get on the radio show like with DT, because it'll pay you back in ways that you can't put a monetary value on. So yeah, really appreciate your help, man, and thanks for having me on. Really enjoyed chatting with you. It's been really good.
It's been really good fun. I'll let you get off because I know you got to go to work. So I'll see you very soon. And then, yeah, drop me a line when you're ready. See you soon, man. Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye. If you found this interview interesting, consider giving it a like and a comment. It helps with the YouTube algorithm, and let me know your biggest takeaway below. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch. I'm back on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and you can check out the schedule from the link below as well to see who's coming up in my interview series. I'll see you in the next Twitch stream or the next YouTube video. I'll see you soon. Bye.